Samaranam Shankaracharya Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Gurukulam Shruti-Smriti-Puranam Alayam Karmalayam Namaami Bhagavad-Padam Shankaram Loka-Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharya Kesavam Badarayam Sutra-Bhashya-Guru Vande Bhagavantau Puranam Ishvaro Gurudasneti Murti-Vedha-Vivagini Yoma-Vatyapta-Dehaya Dakshina-Murtaye Namaha Ukarasundakaro vai ukarasthanivartakaha Andhakaram-yodhitvat guruditya-vidiyate Om Sahana-bhavatu Sahanau-bhunaktu Saha-viryankaravavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma-vidvishavahai Om Shanti-Shanti-Shanti Vasudeva-sudam devam kamsa-chanurvanabdam Devaki-paramanandam Krishnam vande jagatgurum Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bandhuratma-atmanastasya
Yenatmaivatmanajitaha
Anatmanastu shatrutve Vartetatmaiva
Vartetatmaiva
Jitatmanah prashantasya
Paramatma samahitaha
Sitoshna-sukha-dukkeshu
Tadha manapamanayoh.
Bhagavan is talking about the preparedness before getting into Dhyana yoga. See, the word yoga actually means generally sanghati. Okay, it can mean many things. In Bhagavad Gita, all the 18 chapters are called yoga. Arjuna Vishada yoga, then Sankhya yoga, Karma yoga, Jnana Karma yoga, all that. So there the word yoga means topic. So this chapter addresses the topic on Dhyana. Okay, that is the term Dhyana yoga when the chapter's name is called. But here this Karma yoga and Dhyana yoga are used when they are used in this context within the chapter itself. Yoga means the person who is collected and focused on it. Okay, the one who is pursuing karma in a collected fashion. Right? He is not scattered by his obsession towards the karma phala. Okay. Instead, the person is doing an action to free oneself from the sense of doership. Okay. That's why Bhagavan calls yoga karmasu kaushalam. Kaushalam means skill. So, if you do karma as a yoga, it is a very skillful thing. Okay. Then our people translate skill means the one who is karma yoga becomes more adept and all. That's not the point. Shankaracharya defines the skill is because the very same karma which binds you becomes a mean to liberate you. Okay. So by doing the same karma in a yoga attitude, you convert a binding karma into a liberating karma. So therefore, it is called yoga karmasu kaushalam. It is the best way of doing karma. Because nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarma krite karyate hi avashak karma. Bhagavan says that even for a moment, you cannot remain without doing activity. Only when you are sleeping, you are not doing anything, right? But when you are awake, at least you will be doing a mental activity. Or mental and physical, or kayikam, vachikam, manasam, something keeps on going. Okay. So that means you cannot stop. So when somebody says, I am going to stop action, it doesn't stop. So then what is meant here is only kartritva tyaga. Okay. That I am the doer. That doership is given up. Now, how will doership be given up? Only through jnanam it can be given up. Because you are the doer. So you cannot say, I am giving up doership, right? The one who is giving up is also doing an action only, right? Yena tyajasi tat tyaja. The one by which you are giving up, that itself you have to give up. So how do you give that up? Only by being falsified. Only by jnanam actually you can give up to worship fully. But the karma yogi is generally given certain qualities. Bhagavan says these are the qualities of a jnani. Now why should I know what are the qualities of jnani? Because Shankaracharya actually says, by knowing that you make an effort. So those are the right things which you will anyway get when you gain jnana. But you try to imitate it initially because those are the right qualities to have so that you can go towards that. Therefore, this doership giving up, even though can happen only through jnanam, in karma yoga you consciously give up the fruits of action. Okay, by giving up the fruits of action, you are reducing your sankalpa. Okay, so you do only actions which are essential. Other than that, you just focus on Bhagavan. Okay, even the actions that you are doing, also you look upon it as your duty. So Bhagavan says, Evam pravartitam chakram. There is a whole cycle which is going on. Okay, and there is a wheel that is running. So you become a spoke in the wheel because it's my action, yajna which is going on. And in that yajna, you are called upon to do an activity. So you do it because it's given by Bhagavan. So if you do it with that attitude, then your raga dvesha comes down. You are not doing an action with raga dvesha, but you are doing it because you are called upon to do it. That is the attitude of yoga. So here, bandhuhu atma atmanaha tasya yena atma eva atmana jitaha anatmanahu tu shatrutve varteta atmaiva shatruvate. So we saw this. So you are your own enemy. Okay. Because other enemies, one day they will come, they will fight and go. But your mind travels wherever you go, right? Even when you are on flight, Swamiji says 10 people travel without ticket in your mind. All your father-in-law, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, everybody comes with you, right? That is because your mind is all the time. That's why sparshan bahyan bahi kritva, keep them outside. Wherever necessary you interact, but otherwise, see, anyway they will be happy where they are, okay? So you don't have to necessarily carry them in your mind, right? So that is why Atma eva Shatru, okay? Because it is all the time with you, okay? And it doesn't take your permission also. Let's go to the next one. Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitaha Sitoshna sukadu. You want to chant? Okay. Jitatmanah prashantasya
Jitatmanah prashantasya
Paramatma samahitaha
Paramatma samahitaha
Sitoshna sukadukkheshu
Sitoshna sukadukkheshu
Tatha manapamanayoho
Tatha manapamanayoho.
Okay. So what are all the hindrances before you can get into Dhyana? Okay. He has already covered psychological elements. Now he is going to talk about physical hindrances. Sitoshna sukha dukkeshu, and then mana apamanayo also is psychological thing. So essentially he is talking about the qualification before you get into Dhyana, right? So jitatmana, so for whom, let's see how Shankaracharya, he doesn't give an introduction. He just says jitatmana iti. Okay, karya karanadi sangata atma jitaha. The one who has, okay, let's do the Anvaya. It will become easier for you. Sita usha ushna sukha dukkeshu tata mana apamanayoho jita atmanaha prashantasya atma param samahitaha. Okay, this is how Swamiji does Anvaya. Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkeshu. Shitam and Ushnam. So there is Dvandva Sahishnutam, Bhagavan talks about, right? Pairs of duality. So like Sukha, Dukkha, Sita, Ushna. So life is full of that. Okay. Everything is in pair. That's why in Sanskrit you have the dual. Because life is pair, husband, wife, day and night, darkness and light. Okay, heat and cold. So you will find duality more. Okay, so therefore they have separate thing for number for dual. Okay, so see, so Dvandva Sagish, Dvandvam is always there. Everything is Dvandva. So he says, Tan Titikshasva Bharata, there is nothing you can do about it, right? So just understand Dvandva will be there, then tolerate and then keep going. Tolerate means it's not that, oh, I have to tolerate. Just understand it and let it be. So that is how it is. Sita Ushna Sukha Dukkeshu, with reference to heat and cold, pleasure and pain. Tata Mana Apamana Yoho, with reference to praise and criticism. Atmanaha Jitaha, one who has mastery over oneself. Okay, one's own mind basically. And Prashantasya, the one who is got that tranquility, for that person, Atma here means mind. Okay, the mind Param Samahitaha, it is always in a composed state. Okay, so you have to include all that. So this Mana Apamana is Upalakshana, stands for every kind of mental, like you can say Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, everything can be included. Whatever the mental afflictions, you have stabilized, and also externally nothing disturbs you. That person is collected, then he is ready. Okay, so that is what we were saying yesterday. No? So you have to, how do you determine when are you ready for dhyana, right? So when you can reasonably say that I won't be disturbed by this, then you can start this. Because like I said, that dhyana is technically you are giving up all activities. Okay? In those days, you just give up everything, go and sit in a cave. Right? That's what they do. They talk about tapas and all that. Right? They did 20 years of tapas. Some ant hills do. All their stories they say. Right? So because people used to get into this, and then their mind is ready. After that, jnanam is so easy. Right? Jnanam, when the readiness is there, jnanam happens in no time. That story is said in Upanishad itself. There is one king who goes for hunting. Okay. And he goes hunting, he loses his way. So the people are left behind, and then he goes, and then he stands in his horse somewhere, and then there is one Gurukulam there, and there is class going on, Vedanta session going on, someone is teaching Mahavakya. It's all Upanishad story, I think Swamiji tells this. So there is a Mahavakya Upadesham going on, this king stands there. Then 1 hour the guru is taking classes for the students. He is just standing because he don't know what to do. He didn't want to disturb them. So he stands and listens. So after 1 hour he gains jnana. He becomes happy and then just goes and falls in the feet of the guru. He says, I have gained the jnanam, and he goes away. All those students, they come next day also for the class. Because for them the readiness is still not there, right? So they keep continuing. So it is all about preparedness. We were saying Ramana Maharishi, how he became, right? So once the readiness is there, then jnanam is easy. The problem is always with the preparation only, right? So that is where you have to look at, and then, but then there is also, we also say apadata. See, nobody becomes fully ready, right? That can happen only if you have gained the jnanam. Until you gain the jnanam, there will be little bit of hindrance will be there. Otherwise, what is the difference between a jnani and a jnani, right? But to a reasonable extent, if you are able to sit and listen and gain whatever is being spoken about, and undisturbed by your physical situation and the emotional situation, that is what is being sought here. Okay, that is a simple way to understand. To do that, you have to do karma yoga. There is no other choice, because your hindrance is only raga dvesha. Technically, the external things only affect you and your mind. So how do you bring the chitta naischalyam and chitta shuddhi? So that the whole Bhagavad Gita is about that. Preparedness. So he gives here Jitatmanaha, the one who has gained mastery. Okay. And mastery is, one who has gained mastery is called Vashi. Okay. The one who is in his Vasha, all his senses are there. That kind of a person. But mind is also a good faculty. Okay. We cannot blame. Some people say mind is the reason for all problems and all. That is also not true. It's all like your internet and social media, right? It depends on how you use it. So your mind, because human birth itself is what is considered as the greatest gift. Okay. Yantunam narajanma durlabha. So even Tamil they say no, aride monitor. Okay, because, but then if you look at human birth, the most problematic is human birth, because we seem to have the most complex. Swamiji used to say no cow stands in front of a mirror and checks if its tail looks good or not, right? So that kind of a complex is there only with human being, because we only make judgment about ourselves. Okay, an animal or bird doesn't make judgment about itself. It knows this is where food is. If this guy is good guy, he will give me food. That much it knows. So in Brahma Sutra introduction, Shankaracharya says, what is the difference between a person, human being who is after things which he likes and he hates things which doesn't like? Because even a cow goes towards the food it likes, and when somebody is standing with a stick, it runs away from him, right? It's a normal animal behavior. So if you are also going towards your likes and run away from dislikes, there is no difference between Pashu and you. Okay, he says that. So the mind. So the mind becomes a faculty. So the Jantunam Narajanmaya, why it is Durlabham? Because even this problem is there, but human alone can make judgment about oneself. Okay, so you have the capacity to understand who you are. Okay. Because that faculty is there, self-judgment or becomes a faculty by which you can understand yourself also. So the self-knowledge is possible only in a human mind, because you have the capability to understand yourself, judge yourself also. That's why even Devata Shariram is not considered suitable for jnana. Because Devata Shariram is a Bhoga Shariram. So once you have gained a certain punya, you go and enjoy the Devata Shariram. You become a Devendra, not to watch Ramba and this Nartaki's dance. Okay, that is all story. Okay, but Devata is one natural phenomenon. If there is an intelligence running the natural phenomenon, that is called Devata. Right? That Devata also is a Jiva only. So that Jivatvam is only for experience, for enjoyment. Okay. So only Manushya Sharira is suitable for Jnana. That's why you have got a Manushya Sharira after so many births. We don't know if we believe in rebirth, which I think is believable because your horoscopes are reasonably working, right? That means there is something. Without that you can't explain some of those things, right? So, if you believe in rebirth, we don't know how many births after which you have gained this Sharira. And by some luck we have gained this Vedanta Shravanam also. Now if you leave this opportunity, we don't know after how many births you are going to get it back, right? So that's why this Manushya Sharira is considered as a gift. And the mind is the one through which you can gain. So therefore the mind is not a problem. You just need to manage it. So that's why here, Jitatmanaha, you just have to win over yourself. Atma here is mind. Prashantasya, the one, once you have gained that equipoise, that is called Prashantaha, the one who has the Shanti. Shantamuleka Sautkyamulevu, right? So the one who doesn't have Shanti, there is no happiness, right? So that Shanta, then you are ready for this jnana. Okay? For that person, Paramatma Samahitaha. For that person, the Paramatma, here Param Samahitaha Atma. Okay, here the Atma again means mind. So Swamiji takes it as Param Samahitaha Atma. The one is, one's mind is always in a state of composure. Samahitaha means collected. So the person's mind is collected. So once you are collected, then you are ready for this jnana. Until then it is always a problem, right? So that is again a qualification. ज्ञान विज्ञान तृप्तात्मा
ज्ञान विज्ञान तृप्तात्मा
कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः ज्ञान विज्ञानेन तृप्त आत्मा कूटस्थः विजित इंद्रियः समलोष्ट अश्मकाञ्चनः युक्तः योगी इति उच्यते. So all these are Bahuri. Yesterday we were saying, right? Samaloshta Ashmakanchanah means Loshtaha Ashmaha Kanchanaha Samaha Yasya Saha. Okay. For the one whom Loshta, Ashma and Kanchana are equal. So it doesn't, so like he said, right? This doesn't talk about Sama or Loshta or Ashma or Kanchana. It is about somebody for whom Loshta, Ashma and Kanchana are Sama. You get that? So that's why it is Anyapada Pradhana. Usually this Tatpurusha is Uttarapada Pradhana. The second word, like a typical example, is Rajapurusha or Dasharatha Putraha. When you say Dasharathasya Putra, so it is talking about Putra. Okay. The Putra is qualified by Dasharathasya Putra. So that is Uttarapada. Putra means second word, Pradhana. Right? So these are compounds like Tatpurusha, Bahuvrihi, then Dvigu Samasa, Dvandva Samasa, Ubayapada Pradhana is Dvandva, Rama Lakshmana. Rama and Lakshmana both. Right? So like that, there are Samasas. Here everything is a Bahuvrihi. Vijita Indriya. By the one, the Indriya is Vijitam, is one over. Okay. So that kind of a person, who is he? Jnana Vijnanena Triptatma. Okay, the person is Triptaha, means Sanjata Alam Pratyaya is how Bhashikara usually talks about Tripti. Means enough. Okay, I am not in need of anything for me to be happy. As such, I am Triptaha. So this Tripti is the only things that make you Tripta is food, they say. Okay, nothing else makes you. That's why after feeding only you could do Namaskara, because that person doesn't have any more want. He is willing to wish you, because food alone makes you say enough. Nothing else makes you say enough, right? So that Sanjata Alam Pratyaya, the only other thing is this Jnana, because that makes you full. Yavanartha Udapane Sarvata Sampludodake Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu Brahmanasya Vijanataha, one verse is there in second chapter. So Bhagavan says, when there is no water, right, people will go running behind where is a well, where is a pond and all that. But when the whole earth is flooded, like 2 days before it happened in Chennai, right, everywhere it is flooded, who is going to look for a well and tap, right? That's what he says. So it is like that. So once a person is full, there is no more seeking. So that is another Alam Pratyaya. So this person, here it is not about that Tripti. He says he is ready to just sit and listen. Jnana Vijnanena Triptatma. The person is ready for Jnanam pursuit. That is where Vividisha Sannyasa comes. What does a Vividisha Sannyasi do? That person is, everything is taken off from him. Right? That's why it is very difficult to be a sannyasi, because you cannot cook. You don't have a family. You can't even do puja. Only the Dandi sannyasis, Smartha sannyasis can do puja. Right? But if you don't have Danda, you don't even sit and do any idol Murti puja. Right? Then Japa also, for them only Omkara is there, Gayatri and all is taken off. So now what does this person do? The only thing that person can do is Guru Upasadanam, then Seva, and then he can learn. Right? So he is the person ready for it. Okay? Because 24 hours if somebody has to do, the person should be ready for it. You can come for 1 week camp. But if you have to be here for 3 years, then slowly you will start looking at checking your cell phone. Right? That's what happened. Even in our course also, after some time, you take it for granted, right? One day why don't we go to some movie in Coimbatore and come back? So it happens, right? That's the human thing. No, if you have taken sannyasa full time into, are you ready for it? So you need to be very sure. That's why he says Jnana Vijnanena Triptatma. The person is fully ready to just sit and do Vedanta Shravana. There is nothing else. But once the person is free, then he doesn't need anything. He is just going to be, even if you want him to come and do something, he may not be interested. Right? But here, the person is still not a jnani. Okay, so he is only, so the preparedness is essential. So are you ready only for jnana vijnana? Okay, Triptatma. And then he uses the word Kutastaha. Kutavat tishtati. So like the anvil on which, the platform on which typically the iron is hit. Okay. That is typically what we call as Kutastha. Like that Brahman itself is called Kutastha Brahman. Because everything happens on Brahman, in fact. But Brahman is untouched. It doesn't give itself nature. Okay. Like that, this person also is called Kutastha, one who remains unchanged, irrespective of what happens around him or her. Okay. Kutastha, Vijita Indriya, that we have seen, the Indriyam is one over. Senses means sensory objects, there is no more need for the person. Samaloshta Ashmakanchanaha, a lump of clay, okay, or a stone, or gold. All of them are same for him or her. Okay. means in terms of the value. It's not that the person doesn't recognize that this is stone and this is gold, but in terms of that this will give me security, this won't give me security, this is of use. And you can extend it to anything, right? About people, about the goods that you own, anything that you have. If you are not dependent on them, that's all. Swamiji says clutches. See, we all need right now. Everybody has so many clutches that we cling on to, right? Like again, there is one story, you know. So someone is getting washed away in river, okay, and then he is holding on to something, okay, but it's actually a beer, okay. So he doesn't, and then he is holding on to it, okay, and then the river slows down. Somebody is saying, you leave the beer, but he says it is holding on to me, but actually he is the one who is holding on to it, right? He says the beer is holding, right? But then finally he is made to, so there is some story like that. So it is the same thing for us, right? You are holding on to a clutches, and then you are thinking your legs are broken, right? You are, without clutches, I cannot stand, okay? Because in your notion, you are actually, what is that called in English? Lame, yeah, okay. So your legs are not working, right? Then, but actually there is no problem, okay. So the person has to be taught, but you don't give up the clutches very easily, right? Because you are used to having them. Yeah, another story comes to my mind, okay, better story, okay. Swamiji says, one guy has the phobia of cats, okay. So that fellow is told that cats are harmless, okay. No, he has not phobia of that cat, he thinks he is a cat, okay. And he is afraid of dogs, okay, saying I am a cat, okay. So now the doctor comes and tries to tell him, no, you are not a cat, so don't worry, you come out, no dog will do anything. No, he says, no, I am a cat only, he is inside. Then doctor, he brings a mirror, and he brings a picture of a cat, and then shows that this cat, see, this is the cat, okay, it has a tail, legs, whatever, 4 legs. Now you are a human being, so all that he says. Then finally he says, okay, good, I understand I am not a cat, okay. But again he doesn't come out. Okay, then people come and ask, why are you not coming out still? Because you understood your. He says, I have understood I am not a cat, but have all the dogs understood? so when somebody is like after the clutches, whatever you do, he has the tendency to hold on to it. Okay, so that means, so somewhere you need to be taught. So here also, the Samaloštashma Kanchanaha is your dependence on all these things around you. You recognize through Viveka that you are complete without all of them. Once the person is ready, then there is no disturbance. To some extent it will be there. But again, don't look at perfection. Right? The problem with perfection is then you get into guilt trap. Okay? That is another problem. Saying self-indignation or whatever we call criticism. Right? Oh, I am not ready. He is an advanced sadhaka. I am only 50% sadhaka, all that thing, right? So that is not the idea, but you know reasonably you are comfortable, then you are ready for it. That's what it means. Yuktaha iti yogi iti uchyate. That kind of a person is called a composed person who is ready for it. Suhran mitraryudasinam. Actually, it's a single word if you can say, because you can't split it as Udasinam, because Madhyastha is one word. So you have to read it as Subran Mitra Yudasina Madhyastha Dveshya Bandhushu. No, you have to say the full thing, okay? Subran Mitra Yudasina Madhyastha Dveshya Bandhushu Sadhu Swapicha Papeshu Samabuddhir Visishyate. Shankaracharya says, Suhrute Ityadi Shlokartham Ekam Padam. He says the first half of the shloka is one word. That is the beauty of Sanskrit, right? The whole thing is one word. Samasta Padam. Suhrute Mitraha Hari Udasina, Madhyastha, Dveshya, Bandhu. All these together for them. Suhrit, Mitra, Ari, Udasina, Madhyastha, Dveshya, Bandhushu, Sadhushu, Api, Papeshu cha, Samabuddhihi, Visishyate. Visishyate, if you are able to cultivate it, it is the greatest thing to do. Okay? Do what? Samabuddhihi. Okay, the sameness. Okay. Sameness in terms of value. See, the samam is used in many ways. Okay, nirdosham hi samam brahma. So the Brahma is sama. So this we have satta samanyam we say. I think in one of the sessions Jaishankar was talking about. In everything you see satta. The easiness is there in everything. See, just look at it this way. Right? When I say remote ease, there is remote consciousness ease. That is what it is. Okay, so there is a remote perception for me. There is a remote sight, remote touch, remote taste, whatever. So the remote perception is establishes there is a remote. Okay, and then there is a laptop consciousness is. And when I say I am angry, the anger consciousness is. So emotions also comes into the same. And then when I say I am, so my being consciousness is. So Shankaracharya says, in every cognition means that this is a remote is a cognition. Right? Now, like that, this is a remote is a cognition, this is a mic is a cognition, this is a wall is a cognition. In every cognition, there are two buddhis. Okay, at two conclusions, right? Or two perceptions. One is an existence perception, second is an attribute perception. So the wall consciousness is, mic consciousness is. So when I say mic is, it is mic consciousness is, right? Remote consciousness is. In this, the remoteness, micness, wallness keeps changing, but the consciousness is always there. Okay. So what is the substantive and what is the adjective here? We generally say, when I say mic is the substantive, is adjective, sticking to it. But he says it's the other way. The consciousness is the substantive. The micness, the wallness, the peopleness, everything keeps sticking and then keeps changing one after the other. But this consciousness remains all the way. Okay? In any cognition, the easiness is always there. That is called satta samanyam. Samanyam means it is there as samam in everything which is there, in all three states of existence, in all three times of existence, in all three lokas also. Why I am saying all three? Because that is the thing for Tripundra. So the symbol that we wear reflects the philosophy that we stand for. So the satta means easiness. Easiness is what? All attributes are gone. Okay. Every attribute is taken away. What remains is only easiness. Similarly, the Bhasma also stands for the same. Anything you burn, okay, it becomes black ash. Okay, it becomes something, then it becomes black ash. So the black ash you further burn, it becomes white ash. So white ash you keep on burning, it remains white ash. Okay, so it is equivalent to being the substratum of all that is here. So it represents that. Similarly, your Sat also, Satta, easiness is the substratum for all that is here. So the Bhasma stands for Sat. And the Satta Samanyam, that's why we wear it horizontally. Because it is Samam. In everything that is there, the Satta is all there, right? Whether it is in waken, in sleep, or in dream, or in three lokas, or in 3 points in time. Everywhere, that's why 333. That's why Tripundram is representing the Satta Samanyam. So the Advaita Sampradaya, that's why we generally suggest Tripundram. But Vaishnavas have a totally different philosophy. That's why they have Urdu Abundram, right? For them, Bhagavan is still in Vaikuntham only. Okay? Or he is in the form of Sarvavyapi, but then with attributes. And the attribute, Jada and Chit are both Bhagavan together for them. So the Jadatvam is shown by that red or whatever, and Chit is shown by white. So they have the double color thing, right? Whereas here, typically it is only Satta only. But then Maya is there, right? Little bit. So we put that Kumkumam underneath because there is little bit of Maya. So that's why Nilakantha, Parameshwara, is a Nilakantha. He is Suddha Chaitanyam, but little bit Maya is there in his neck as a Nilakantha. Okay. So the Maya Upahita Chaitanyam. So, but in a manifest Jagat, when the Jagat is there as manifest, so it is all pervading Vyapnoti iti Vishnu. So he is entirely blue, Krishna or Vishnu. Whereas Shiva is Suddha Chaitanya, so he is fully white, Suddha Spatika Shankasham. So there is Satta Sama, okay, from Samam I went somewhere. So Samabuddhi, so Nirdosham hi Samam Brahma. The Samam is used from a Brahma perspective. So here Samabuddhi is equanimity, whose vision is the same. The value attribution, see the value is all subjective. Right? When I say money gives me security, it's my subjective value. The money itself doesn't have that value. It is me giving, called Shobhanadhyasa. We think, when a person looks this way, because see, I would have seen somebody in my childhood who looks a particular way and has a particular behavior. After 15 years, I see somebody who looks like the same guy, then I do a value attribution that this guy is this way. Finally, I find out it is a very different person, right? This is all adhyasa. It's called transference in psychology also, because they say every relationship is relived because of transference. In fact, Swamiji used to say, every person who hates God, who is atheist, would have had some problem with his father in childhood. Okay? Because you look upon Bhagavan as father only, right? So eventually your anger of your father gets transferred. This transference he used to speak even in marriages. Okay, even with Guru Shishya also this transference is there. Okay, your anger towards your father gets transferred to Guru. He said, he actually told in one satsanga that when he started teaching, he didn't understand the psychology and all that. Suddenly he used to find the students becoming angry with him. Okay, he didn't understand why that is. Then, because he used to see, it's not like us, right? Take a camp and go. So he used to have these 3-year courses for like, so these were like, students were like his children, right? We were like 65 of us studying in this ashram, right? At that time. So means he is the father figure, right? So all your childhood anger, everything will get transferred to the Guru. So he understood that later. Then the psychological transference is something he used to talk a lot towards his later days. So even in marriage, that's why in the first 2 years you will have big fights. Okay? That's because of the same transference issue, right? And all the psychological things. Because that is called adhyasa. What I am talking about, the Shobhana adhyasa, we say value attribution. So everybody sees the world in its own color. It's like everyone has one color glass. Somebody has a red glass, blue glass. So you see the world in your own way, right? It's all your mind superimposes things on things. That itself doesn't have any value. It's like thinking somebody you marry and your life is settled, right? But actually, you were better off earlier, right? So, that's called the Shobhana Dhyasa, right? So, I don't know, you tell me. Shobhana Dhyasa, okay, so the value attribution. That's why you become objective towards things, that is all. You don't have to hate, neither do you have to have clinging, right? Just give them that space and then be objective. Then it is easy, right? Just give it its space, right? That is how it is. Swamiji used to say, again and again I am saying this, but he say, if you ask one more question, you will always understand. See, every person, if you don't judge a person, right? The person, if person is behaving a certain way, there is always a reason. So if you ask one step behind, then if you, instead of classifying the person as good or bad, right? He says, there is no thief or there is some, the person given to stealing is what he will say. Because when somebody is stealing or doing a wrong activity, right? Because he is in a psychological compulsion to do. Nobody wants to be seen as a bad guy, right? Because that person's self-judgment also is there. Okay, everybody is conscious and knows that what they are doing is wrong. Duryodhana says, Janami dharmam nachame pravritti, janami adharmam nachame nivritti. I know what is right and what is wrong, right? But I am not able to do the right thing and move away from the wrong thing. It's a compulsive behavior, right? So people are, so once you recognize that, then you won't hate that person. It's not that you need to accept what the person is doing, but don't be judgmental of that person, right? There is a reason probably why that is happening. So give it that space and then you draw a line and move away from it. I am not saying you have to accommodate somebody's thing to the extent that you get affected. Okay. So Swamiji used to say draw a line, right? So but then be empathetic, because there is always a reason. Why we have to do? Because that makes you free. It's not about that person, right? The more space you give that person, the more free you are. Right? So that is, so this is a context we have to talk about all these things, right? So because Sugrit, so he says look everybody in the same way. So he classifies them as Sugrit, Mitra, Ari, Udasina, Madhyastha, Dveshya, Bandhu. Okay, let's look at Shankaracharya's definition itself. Sugrit means, he says Pratyupakaram Anapekshya Upakarta. Without expecting anything in return, the person helps you. So generally Bhagavan himself is seen as a Sugrit. Bhagavan doesn't need your praise. Who are you to praise Bhagavan, right? It's like somebody telling Einstein you are a great scientist. So he doesn't see, unless you are greater than him, you will not even value that praise, right? Because who are you to praise, right? Like that Bhagavan is Bhagavan. He is, so for your sake you are doing. But then Bhagavan is the one who helps you, right? Without expecting anything in return. So Sugrit. Pratyupakaram Anapeksha Upakarta, it can be there in worldly people also. People who is a Sugrit. Then Mitram, he says Snehavan, the one who has Sneha for you, liking for you. Then Arihi, Shatru, the one who is against you. Okay, Udasinaha, Na Kasyachiti Paksham Bhajate, the one he is indifferent. Okay, he doesn't take any stand. Okay, like Narasimha Rao. So that is Udasinaha. Okay, Madhyastaha, Yaha Viruddhayoho Ubayoho Hitaishi. Okay, Madhyastaha is the one he says, is not a neutral guy. He says, he looks at welfare of two opposing people also. Okay, that is a Madhyastaha. Then Dveshyaha, Atmanaha Apriyaha. Okay, the one, so the difference between Ari and Dveshyaha, he says, Ari is the one who hates you, Dveshyaha is the one who you don't like. Okay. Then Bandhu, Sambandhi. Okay. For all these people, Sadhushu, Dveshya Bandhushu, Sadhushu api, okay, he adds Sadhushu also, Shastra Anuvartishu, the one who is following Shastra, so that is the highest. Okay, so all kinds of people, Cha Papeshu, the one who is Adama, for them, Pratishittakarishu, Sarveshu Eteshu, Samabuddhi, Kim Karma iti Avyabrita Buddhi ityartaha. Okay, Visishyate Vimuchyate, Samabuddhi. Okay, so he says, Kim Karma iti Avyabrita Buddhi. Let's see what is Bhashikara saying. Samabuddhi means one whose vision is the same. Okay, that is a common term. King karma iti avyaprata buddhi. So what they do, what they don't do, you are not really bothered. This is how Shankaracharya looks at it. Okay. So who is undisturbed by all those things, just let them be what they are. Okay. That kind of a buddhi visishite, because then it won't disturb you when you are doing dhyana. That's all it means, right? So you are ready for it. Yoga rudham sarvesham ayam uttamaha ityartha. For so he doesn't even say, see Shankaracharya makes a twist here, right? He doesn't say only that person is Yoga Rudha. He says Yoga Rudhanam Sarvesham Ayam Uttamaha. The one who has completely this kind of equanimity is the greatest among Yoga Rudha. So that means he says even if you don't have these things fully, you can still get into Dhyana Yoga, right? To a reasonable extent, if you have also, you can still get in. But then if you have all this, then you are the greatest Yoga Rudha. You are the best fit. Okay, that's what he says. Because he wants to again avoid the guilt trap, right? That, oh, I have some hatred towards somebody, am I ready for it? Kind of thing. Okay. Yogi Yujita Satatam
योगी युञ्जीत सततम्
आत्मानं रहसि स्थितः
आत्मानं रहसि स्थितः
एकाकीयत चित्तात्मा
एकाकीयत चित्तात्मा
निराशीरपरिग्रहः
निराशीरपरिग्रहः.
Okay, now he is actually getting to the dhyana. Okay, so far it was about qualification. The next set of verses is going to talk about how to do dhyana. Okay. In the first verse. Okay, dhyana. Satatam rahasi stitaha ekaki yatachitta atma nirashihi aparigraha yogaha atmanam yunjita. Yunjita is like ordering, right? Suggesting. May you, okay, become collected in this meditation. Okay, may you unite. Yunjita. Okay, with the object of meditation. By doing what? Satatam, constantly, rahasi stitaha, in a quiet place. Okay, in a rahasya place also. And stitaha, remaining, ekaki, being alone. Here only Shankaracharya says because ekaki is used, it only means a sannyasi. Okay, because you can't be an ekaki if you are a grihastha. And for this dhyanam also, you don't need stri help. Okay, but for yaga, the wife has to be there. Okay, so but here ekakitvam is what is needed because you need to be focused on it. So he says ekaki, that's why this means only sannyasa, and there is a big argument that he takes up here. Okay. And ekaki rahasi stitaha yatachitta atma. Okay, here is Swami says one whose body and mind are relaxed. Okay, chittam and atma yatam, the one who's in whose control the mind and body are. Okay, that's what it means. Okay. Nirashihi, without any ashi. Asha means, you know, in Tamil also asha means longing. Right? Ashihi. Aparigraha. See again parigraha. Parigraha is something is allowed for a grihastha. You can take, especially if you are a brahmana and brahmachari and all, you can do parigraha. Right? For some others, king can't do parigraha. Right? He already has so much wealth. He only has to give. Whereas brahmana doesn't have possessions in those days. So you can have a parigraha. So, but here aparigraha means again it is sannyasi only. And here he says even if you are a vividisha sannyasi, you still don't do parigraha. See, sannyasi doesn't save things. Okay. In fact, the ekaratram and all or triratram, there are rules for sannyasi. Okay. You can't stay in a place more than one night. Okay. And you can't go and ask bhiksha more than one place. And even in one place you can ask bhiksha only 3 times. If you don't get food on that day, that means your Bhagavan hasn't given food for you. That is called this madhukari vritti. Like a honeybee, the person goes, asks for bhiksha. If he gets, he comes, eats. Okay. Then they call about ajagara vritti also. Like python. The person will be there. If something comes, python just lies down. If something comes, it eats. Otherwise, it just keeps lying. Like that also, sannyasi had ajagara vritti. They were not. They wouldn't go out. Whatever they get, they will stay. Okay. They will be there and taking that, right? So this aparigraham is something that is suggested for even vividisha sannyasi. Okay. Don't store. Okay. See, if you are planning for tomorrow, that means you are clinging, no? So there is one story, right? Patidatta in Tamil, one of his sishyas, he used to sit outside a temple and have bhiksha. Slowly, whenever he used to get food, one dog used to come, he'll put some food, the dog will eat. He started developing some bondage. Okay. So one day someone came searching for him, went to the guru who was sitting on the other side of the temple. So that guru told this guy, there will be one grihastha sitting on the other side. Go and find, that is the guy. Then he came and told, I asked the sannyasi, I asked for this name. That other sannyasi said, there will be a grihastha sitting there, he is the one. Then he understood that he has this bondage with this dog, right? So like that, the parigraha for a sannyasi, even to a limited extent also, it will lead to something more and more and more. There is one more story I will tell you tomorrow. Okay. So this parigraha is a big thing. Aparigraha, yogi, atmanam yunjita. May that person, okay, be focused on Atma. Okay, here is his mind. Okay, mind Yunjita, unite it with the object of meditation. Here, because we are talking about sannyasi, we are talking nididhyasana. Okay, not Saguna Brahma Upasana. So we will see. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate